So welcome once more to the Ford World Men's Curling Championship 2013, coming to you live from Victoria in British Columbia, Canada, on the island of Vancouver Island, in fact. Nice springtime here. Tonight we're going to bring you coverage of the game between China and the Czech Republic. I'm Richard Harding, and with me I have Luke Coley. Good evening, Luke.
Good evening here as you see everyone filing in on a sunny day at the Save On Foods Memorial Center for our feature game, as you said, China against the Czech Republic. Different results for both these teams earlier today in their first game.
Czech Republic defeated Norway, and China lost to Canada in the opening round. And so some Scottish fans here to see their first opening game tonight.
Well, Richard, we heard lots of bells in draw one and from teams. As get a chance now, let's meet these two teams. We see for China, their lead, Cheng Cha-Liang, second, Ba Du-Shin, their third, Xu Xiaoming, and their skip, Leo Ray, as coached by Lauren Hamblin, and they are out of the Harbin Curling Club in Harbin, China. They'll take on the Czech Republic, their lead, Marek Vidra, their second, Jakub Barz, their third, Martin Schneidel, and their skip, Yiji Schneidel. And their coach, Daniel Raphael, out of Prague, Czech Republic.
Both these coaches are Canadian. So that's the standings after one draw. Canada, Sweden, and Czech Republic and Switzerland all on one win. And on one loss, China, Finland, Norway, and Russia.
So 4 teams that will be their first game tonight. We look at all the other games going on here this evening. Scotland and Japan will both have their first matchup. David Murdoch against Yusuke Morizumi of Japan. While Russia lost earlier, they'll take on Sweden and Nicholas Edin, who got away with one, it looked like, against Finland earlier this afternoon. And on sheet D, Denmark and U.S. hit the ice for the first time at the 2013 Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Well, Richard, what do we expect this evening between Czech Republic and China? Don't really want to start 0-2 if you're this Chinese team. Some high expectations from them coming into this event.
Well, that's absolutely right. Of course, Canada beat them first game. And this Canadian team are not experienced at the World Championship, so perhaps it might have been a tighter game. It ended up 7-6, but it could have been a lot wider score than that. At one point it was. So we'll see how good they are now. Czech Republic, not necessarily the most charismatic team here in curling terms, I wouldn't think, but they notch up the wins these days, and they beat Norway earlier on.
So
Thomas Ulsrud.
But it's only the start, eh?
Ulsrud admittedly missing his third man, Torger Nergard, who's not here. Thomas Levold playing third instead. But still, A win's a win, and the Czechs get off to a winning start. If they win tonight, they'll be on the way well and truly. And
2 wins on the first day would be big. They only had 2 wins at last year's World Championship.
Yeah, well, it's a chance here for China to peg Czech Republic back as well as win their first game. It'll be an interesting test to see how they get on, because in Europe we kind of know the pecking order of the European teams. They play one another regularly on the Champions Curling Tour in Europe, and they also kind of know one another's games. We know how well they do against one another, the Europeans, every season. But in the Pacifics, China and Japan are a little bit isolated down there on their own, with Korea and
just
Australia,
the 2 teams,
New Zealand.
Just the 2 teams that come out of the Pacific Curling Championships, and this year it's China and Japan. And the Czech Republic will have the hammer to start the game, and will be throwing the yellow stones, while China will have the red.
I was just going to say that China and Japan, they have much less experience against these European teams. So I know at the Women's Worlds last week in Latvia, week before last, that the Chinese team took a long time to get going. Let's see whether China can get off to a good start in this game.
So Cha Liang will get us going here in draw number 2. And we'll start the center, just off center line guard.
So Yiji Schnittel just indicating the draw behind. On the out turn for is the lead. Slowing up quickly there. Will he get past? Well, he does, and it finishes just inside the house. And no more.
And that one just goes to the top, like you said, top 12 foot. As we look at rules of play for the round robin, 6 ends minimum, where handshakes can be given, 73 minutes per team on the time clocks, and 1 coach interaction. Clock will continue to run during that interaction.
And for those of you who don't know what an interaction is in curling, it's nothing technical. It just means that the coach can come and talk to the team once during the game.
Have his
input. I prefer
input.
to say that during these things, because interaction really is a rather bizarre way of describing it, but I suppose by rules it has to be.
You can't say timeout because the time continues to go during that. The time does not stop.
In effect, it means they can talk to him once, or her once.
Other than the 5th end break.
Yep.
We see Merrick Vidra, his first game. He didn't play this afternoon. They've got a little of the rotation. It was Jindrich Kitzberger who was in this morning, or this afternoon, pardon me, as lead. So we have a couple of guards out in front after China played that run back, or their guard into the stone top of the 12-foot. They started off against Team Canada a little apprehensive, a little more conservative here without the hammer, going aggressively to try and get one in early and control that 4-foot area.
So Badushin, second for China. And all these Chinese players are full-time curling athletes.
Also, we have 1 stone just top of the 12-foot. Looks like there is a port to get at it if they want. but can remove any stone now after the 4 lead stones. This is the first of second stones for Jakob Bars.
So Jakub Baresh is listed as the alternate on the team lineup. He is a student in Prague. Played alternate at the 2012 Worlds and also in 2010, so he's been around.
Well, he did jam that one, leaves it top 12 foot, an opportunity. Try and really clog up the 4-foot area, try and get into a scoring position here for this Chinese foursome. Well, they guard up that stone top 12 foot.
Well, I think they could have done with tapping it up. However, it's early in the first end, so no major concerns for anybody.
We do have the Czech Republic playing run backs and peels in this stage, as opposed to trying to draw and set up an end with the hammer. That goes right through the hole, picks it off the top, doesn't remove that stone, top 12 foot. And they'll put the guard out in front again, as that peel was effective.
So our first view of Chinese third player, Xu Shoming. He played last year also in Basel in Switzerland and in 2010. 2008, the first time that he appeared. So again, the guard being put on, and Yuji Schnittel just indicating that he would like to clean these two both out of there.
Is this an opportunity where maybe they don't know the ice in certain spots to draw around, because there's lots of room still to get in to most of the house, but early on in a game they just seem to be playing the peels and try and keep the center open.
Martin Schnittel, his Yuji's brother, going for this.
Getting through the hole.
It's not that big a hole to go through twice in a row. I wonder if they can do it 3 times. We'll see whether we get the.
We'll see if they can split the uprights
replaced.
again.
Yep. I think.
Not trying to do that. They're hoping to get one of the other ones off so they can open up a draw path to the 4-foot.
I think Xu Ming would quite like to have his guard just a little bit shorter, make it more difficult to take the 2 away. So less sweeping going on this time. Just trying to make the stone finish a little bit further away from the house. Well, they're dragging it on now. And lining it up with the one in the front ring. And Yuji Schnittel having a look at the double on the front 2 stones, but I think plumping once more for the same raise attempt.
Well, it looks like going after that double that you first saw there, Richard, to go after and get the 2, the guard just tight to the rings and the one in the house.
Yeah, that is what they're doing. This way he can lie guarded, possibly. Oh well, bounces back out the way. And Baresh Fresh, quick onto the sweeping, but leaves that stone of China's in the back 12-foot circle.
Needed to catch a little more of that first one in order to push that one out. A little thin, go over the top of it. As it actually spun back up towards the other guard.
Czech Republic, though, they do have last stone advantage. Just need to be a bit careful not to find themselves in a position where they can't get to the 4-foot circle with a draw shot if they need to. So great chance here for China to make it a tough call for Schnittle's last stone.
Leo Ray here try and draw around. Now after that shot by the Czech Republic, it opens up this draw path to get a stone in a better steal position, deeper in the rings.
Well, a bit timid with that one.
Yeah, I was afraid of going too deep and leaving something to freeze on top of. I think probably might have been the mindset of that.
So China now lying 2 shots in the first end, but the last stone advantage held by Yiji Schnittel.
Well, it's tough to see exactly. Are they playing the hit on that red one or a possible tap on one of their guards? Looks like with this weight, probably the tap.
It's quite a brave shot in the first end. This one could be over curling. Is it going through the gap?
Oh, he's going through the hole. I stand corrected. As he'll get a little rub off of that red, roll into the side of the 8-foot and get shot stone buried. Don't know if exactly they were calling the draw through the port and chip off the front one, but a real good result.
Well, he just gets through the gap all right. Touches off the front Chinese stone and rolls in behind his own guard on the landing up just behind the tee line. Quite a nice result considering everything. I'm quite sure that wasn't played for, because you could not expect to come off that front stone just the way it did, or not play for that anyway. Look.
Yeah, you're not calling to draw through a hole and chip off a top stone. I think the idea was to try and draw right in, and they knew that they were going to be on it, so they're trying to maybe chip it in the open or take some of the speed away. Now forces Leo Ray into a tap of his own, try and angle tap that red onto the yellow.
Well, as that stone came through, it just touched the red one on the front of the house there in the blue circle, out into the open, allowing Ray just to tap this up for shot. But he was a little timid in weight the last time. He needs to put a little bit more on here. Look mighty close to the hog line from here.
We are a little ways away. The lights did go green, and I'll trust those before our sets of eyes.
I did look at the TV screen. Anyway, this looks a little better weight from Ray as he got the line. He's certainly got good weight. Oh,
tap it
beautiful
right
shot
onto the corner. Very nice, able to get in there, get shot stone. Is that same port available, though, that Schneider played on his first to skip stones?
Well, It is, but it's a really tight port as we saw the last time. It's a very precise line to get through there, and actually if you're drawing away from the stone of China's, you're quite liable just to edge it into the yellow of your own shot. The alternative is the draw round from the left, as we look at it there, from left to right. Well, coming in it would be from Skip's play. It's from left to right around that top guard to bite a bigger piece of the red circle than that red stone is covering. But that's not the favoured shot. So China lying first shot here, and this is the last stone of the first end for CHN-CZE. Just trying to come through that port again, I think. Oh no, he's trying the raise.
Was looking at that tap, and they end up tapping it, over curling it, tap it by, leaves that red Chinese stone shot rock, and it's a single stolen point for China here in the first end. Welcome back here inside the Save-On Foods Memorial Center, the second end. China taking on the Czech Republic. Luke Coley here with Richard Harding. It's the Czech Republic with the hammer for the second straight end after a steal in the first. First stone here, Chang Cha Liang will go deep into the house. And early on, advantage Czech Republic now.
Well, China definitely preferring to see that stone in the front of the house. So they will just watch as Marek Vitra places a corner guard, or tries to. Have to sweep hard to get this in place as far as they can.
Well, we'll get the corner guard, and as that one comes to rest, take a look over, update Scotland, Japan. First end, is Japan with the hammer here. Yusuke Morizumi against David Murdoch, now skipping the Scotland team. Includes the silver medalist from last year, Tom Brewster. And the final stone, looking at a couple of Scotland stones, trying to make the double score 2. and won't quite jump it over enough and push that one out. And it's a steal of one for Scotland early on over on sheet A, right next door to us as we're on sheet B.
So, CHN-CZE just asking for that stone to be removed. China has short stone. CHN-CZE would like to tuck in behind it with this stone of Marek Vidra's. And I think some other teams would have just drawn to that.
Or played behind the corner is another option there. Here, the hit, trying to just keep it a little simpler after giving up the steal. But big weight, I think more than what they needed to throw. Could have brought the weight down, allowed the sweepers to control it. There was heavy, and now the corner guard goes away.
And both these teams played in the first round this afternoon, so they're pretty familiar with the conditions and shouldn't need to be playing as defensively as that, I don't think. China trying to clear the guard off. Well, clear everything off.
Well, that wipes the slate clean as everything off the front now.
Jakub Baresh trying to replace the guard. Playing at second for Czech team tonight. And ever since the Czech Republic built their four-sheet curling club in Prague, they have had some pretty good success at men's, women's, junior level. Every year they get a little bit better, more experienced.
And this is the fourth trip to a World Championship, or pardon me, fifth trip. He's been to four previous for the skip of this Czech Republic team. Last year didn't fare as well as they wanted to. A disappointing go around there, but put in the work and the effort and came out with a bronze medal at the most recent European Curling Championship.
So again, trying to put the guard out, this time on the other side. Jakub Baresh. And China playing very defensive stuff here.
Yeah, not wanting to get into any of it. They will peel off that guard, continuing to just keep it open after the hit and roll out by Marek Vidra.
So the first stone for Martin Schnittel here, and this is the coach for Czech Republic, Dan Raphael, formerly coach with Italy and China. Is that all? You see these coaches, different teams every year. So
originally from Quebec. He's worked with a few Quebec teams out there as well prior to coaching the Chinese team. He was a part of, we see another Canadian, Lauren Hamblin, coaching the Chinese team now.
yeah, he's been coach for Switzerland. And who else?
I don't.
Worse than football managers in Europe. Hired and fired every season.
Well, they catch that one thin. We'll be able to kick that one over and push it right out. Not a whole lot doing here in this second end as the Czech Republic made the choice early to play a hit. Rolled out. If they would have played the draw and were a little bit short and not quite where they wanted in the rings, it would have maybe left a few stones in play. Instead, this has us playing a fairly open second end, a 1-0 score.
Liu Ray just going for the simple hit.
I think he wants to stick around, force Schneidel to have to make the hit right back. Now that we are in the rings, if it was a guard, he'd probably peel it right off. Well, it's always a big game after you lose one for any team, and China's in that position now. We're losing their first game to Canada. Now have the Czech Republic, chance to even the record with them also.
So Schnittel again going for the hit and stick. Make China hit and go with the last stone to retain last stone advantage. This one just hanging on in the very outside of the 12-foot circle. So Leo Ray, this time he will hit and go to. Oh no, he might.
He'll want to stick around.
Sorry,
with the Czech Republic having the hammer.
Exactly.
It's keeping you tested.
Yeah, well, lost the plot because it's got a bit dull this end, unfortunately. We will see.
Well,
out it goes. And
did
now
as you
this
told
one
them.
will go straight. Well, yes. Mistakenly, this one will go straight through from Schnittel. Yes.
And very quickly, save some time. Later on, a quick-moving second end. So that'll keep it a 0-0 game. Czech Republic against China here. Draw 2 from the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Well, here inside the Save-On Foods Memorial Center, Luke Coley with you. A 1-0 game. China with a steal in the first against the Czech Republic in the capital city of the westernmost province in Canada, Victoria. As we saw in the second end, the first stone will come into the rings behind the tee line. And the corner guard will go up for the Czech Republic side.
So once more, Marek Vidra.
Easy, kluci. Jede.
Placing this check stone
Easy.
in front of the house
Jede.
if it slows down.
Oh.
So they get the corner guard quite close to the rings.
Well, in that first stone behind the tee line, you see different ways the team's defending that. Sometimes they'll bring the second stone into the house. Some they'll go very tight guard. Some will like to block off play behind the corner. Here it looks like going to play to the center, just a tight guard, maybe just into the top part of the house.
Chang Xiaoliang just bringing this stone to the front of the house, and he will guard fairly well the stone behind the tee, which he put there. So, second stone here in the third end for Marek Vidra.
Stados. Čekej. Přední 4, buton. Martin. Jestli můžeš.
Just trying to come around and face that
Easy,
Chinese stone in the house.
To máte.
Good looking line on this one, as he got the right weight right up to the Chinese stone. Well, a little bit short.
Not quite enough to get shot stone, so it can be tapped up. If you're going to miss, that's the way to miss it, is to miss it a little bit short than being too heavy and rolling in the open.
So, just trying to draw around again, China. At least we're in a game here, rather than clearing everything off like the last end. So, second player for China, Ba Dushin. This one's curling quite a bit. Must pass the guard. He will pass the guard, and he will face that stone of the Czechs.
Important thing was getting an angle on it that you couldn't play any sort of double. If they would have bounced off, there would have been a double for the Czech Republic. Now China has a good angle to get rid of that yellow stone. This looks like maybe a hit and roll off the center line guard to try and roll into the rings behind the corner.
Well, that's the aim, rather than the raise onto the Chinese stone, raise onto another of theirs. Remove them both. Just going for the hit and roll across.
Well, make the hit, try and roll it onto the rings, and it'll spin enough just at the end to sit in the house. And look over on sheet A again. Scotland against Japan. It was a steal in the first end by Scotland, and Yusuke Morozumi last stone of the second. Here trying to get into the forefoot, get a single point. Has to navigate that port, get through, get past that top red stone. They get by it. It goes down too deep, and see them indicate it is another point stolen by the Scots, so they're up 2-0. As David Murdoch and company trying to sweep the men's and women's world championship after Eve Muirhead winning the women's last week.
So having removed the guard, China trying to replace it again, a little further in this time. The guard previously just short of the rings. Stone's not lying all that nicely for the Czechs, it has to be said.
It's a very lonely yellow stone in there with the hammer, and they're not able to sort of try and play an offensive shot, try and set something up behind the corner, open things up. They'll hopefully try and keep the shooter on the side, playing the hit.
They could try the raise on the front red to the next one, but it's pretty dangerous if you miss it. You could remove your own one instead, all too easily. So Baresh going for the hit, clean hit, and then the roll to the wing to lie another shot. Well, he was going for the clean hit, but not on that stone. It's not a bad result, though.
No, it turned out pretty good, and we'll quickly jump over sheet C. 1-0 Russia leading Sweden. As you see the situation, shot stone just back button, and Nicholas Edin playing that angle raise in, running that red one in, an opponent stone, trying to go and get rid of the back end of that freeze in the forefoot. Go red onto the yellow, kick that one out, and it will do just that. So it's a single point by Sweden. Very nice. Nicholas Edin able to get one, tie things up there after two. Well, the little slash hit in our feature game here sits top of the 12-foot. Still shot rock, back four, first rock of the end.
So Schnittel just looking at removing that Chinese stone and rolling, I think. To lie three. Wants to retain the shooter in the house. And he does, successfully.
Well, he lines it up that the double becomes more difficult because of the jam possibility of that stone back forefoot. And that's the and have stones behind the tee line. So stone position, very important. Has to catch this one on the broom side in order to cross the face of the second one so they don't jam. If you go straight back, it'll jam onto that stone back forefoot.
Or if you're on the other side where the broom is, it will jam onto the red one.
But we'll able to do that and knock the yellow in the top part of the rings out of the paint, so not a counter anymore, and China lying two.
Well, that was a little bit of a bonus. Kind of another look at that. The raise just perfect for line. At 34, 3 years younger than his brother, Yuji. Going for the raise here. It's over curling.
But gets a fortunate break to catch on that side one, roll it in, and the shooter. They are third and fourth, but it forces China now to play a hit on one. If they roll out, could maybe sneak a way out of this trying to get two. It needs a couple mistakes by China in order to do so.
Well, fortunate indeed to lie two yellow stones, albeit only in third and fourth position. After that take-out attempt.
So that's what Leo will look to do, just come down, make the hit and stick. Oh, rolls in, sits, top 12 foot, sits 1, 2, 3. Looking at trying to use those stones in the top part of the house as guards. Trying to roll behind, see the red and the yellow combination, roll behind them.
Well, there are 3 stones remaining here. Schnittel has the last stone advantage. If he can get a good hit and roll, force China to have a go at the raise to remove it, he could pick up a pair here.
Would be what you call a skip's deuce.
That's what you would call a skip's deuce. I'm not telling you what I'm going to call it. But yes, he could get 2. He's going to get the roll the other way.
Change of plans, over curling on them. They
I think
roll
the roll
in behind.
was planned to go behind the more cover on the right as we looked at it there rather than that one, but
makes the perfect roll the other way.
It is a perfect roll. He's certainly got a nice finish. And, if it ends up that the Czechs only have to draw a full to the white here, then it shouldn't be too difficult for Schnittel to do that, but Chinese will have succeeded in forcing them to take a single point. Any chance of China stealing 1 or 2 here? I don't think it's all that much a probability.
So. Because the 4 foot is open, there still is that possibility. A little surprised playing the draw down to it as opposed to playing the red straight back and playing the hit.
Well, it's fairly wide out there. And this Chinese team and the Czech team not quite so comfortable with the big weight, raise, take out hits, and needs to get past the front one though.
And they will glance off of it and just roll off to the side. Sit for shot stone.
Big chance now though for Yuji Schnittel to get his 2.
It's a delicate shot he's got to play. It's not an easy one, but there is an opportunity out there now. So he has to just get a hair across nose to avoid touching their own.
So sweeping like mad to get past this guard. Just glances it. Takes the weight off it and it rolls into the open, but it leaves a tricky angle. If Schnittel gets this wrong, he could punch it onto his own stone.
Well, it is edge on edge, so you can probably just see all of it from the hack, maybe a little bit more.
So he has to be drawing left to right as we look at it there, so that he pushes the red stone past his own yellow in the back, which counts second shot here, and he would then pick up his 2. So last stone in the third end. China leading 1-0. I don't know if he's got enough weight here. It's pretty light.
Well, the big question now is getting past the front. Vizra and Barish got to get it past their own, and they're going to end up nosing it.
That's a horrible shot.
And will give up a steal of 2 out of it. at some point could have got off that to try and have it over curl that stone completely and only give up the one. Instead, Czech Republic down 3 now after 3 stolen points in the first 3 ends of this game.
Well, that was a truly awful shot from Schnittel. It was light and it was tight. So China lead 3-0 after 3 ends.
Well, some of the colorful fans here in Victoria are cheering on Scotland as you see the colors out there. All kinds of flags and cheering on the 8 teams in action here. In our feature game, we have China and Czech Republic. A lot to cheer about right now for Team China with another steal. Czech Republic had the opportunity, but it was a mistake on the final stone that ended up giving an extra point stolen to the Chinese side.
Well, Luke, I have to say China have played adequately, but they have benefited most from the mistakes of Schnittel, not through any terrifically pressing play of their own.
And that's the trouble that China got into earlier. They weren't able to put the pressure on Team Canada, or in their first game, they didn't play perfect and force the tough shot. Here they're playing well enough to put themselves in a good position, and then their opponent with some mistakes, as you saw in that last one. When you have an opportunity in this event, see, after just one game, it was 96% in their first game here. Of course, just day 1 of the competition. So first stone this time in a better position for China. Center line guard goes into a great spot. As we look over on sheet D, USA, Denmark, 3-1, a 3 in the first by Brady Clark, the U.S. skip. Opportunity here for more.
All right, you're good. Line's fine.
And actually is the closest in proximity to Victoria as far as all the teams from Seattle, Washington. Just down the coast as a draw here for a second point.
Nice work, guys. Good end.
Front end able to get that one there. Good start for the Americans. They are up 5-1 after 3 ends against Denmark and Rasmus Stern. And big game for the U.S. to start things off.
Well, yes, and I had some high expectations for Rasmus and his team. They've been around for a year or two now, played pretty well, but
not the start that they were hoping for.
It certainly is not in their first game. Just starting in the second round of play this evening, Denmark and the US. So to our game. China leads 3-0.
Ba Duxin, after the freeze attempt, ends up just sitting top of the 8-foot. Chance here to play the hit on it. Little roll in behind cover. Very nice.
Lovely shot from Ba Duxin there. China tightening the screw at this end anyway, leading 3-0, and nice lineup of 3 stones in a row.
Can you get them all here, Richard?
You probably can, but we'll see whether Jakub Baresh can do that. He's not far away.
We'll get them all moving, and 2 of them will disappear.
I think that's probably about as best he could do.
Had to throw more weight in order to get all of them out, I think. Just wanted to make sure that they kept their shooter in a position they can have something to hide behind, and just kicks that one out top 8-foot. And here's the defensive play again by China. I think after their first game, they got into a little bit of aggressive in a couple ends. It cost them. And here, they're saying, let's just keep it a little bit. When we have the opportunity to peel a corner guard, let's peel it. So they'll get the corner guard only, doesn't touch the center. We'll look over on sheet C, and it is Russia against Sweden. Sweden trying to stay unbeaten, win their second game, while Russia trying to get their first win. And the Russian skip, Andrei Drozdov. And his final stone. Opportunity here to get 2. Come down, move that yellow stone, which is shot stone, right down to it, right to the nose. Nicely done for the Russian side as they get 2 and have a 3-1 lead after 3 ends of play. Some new faces this year. You see the Russian side in there at the World Championship. Missing Germany, one of the countries you normally expect to see here in the past at the World Men's.
Yeah, this time round we have Russia and Finland, and we're missing Germany and France, who've been... Germany in particular was quite a surprise at Europeans. They played quite poorly. Crashed out of the World Championship for the first time, I think.
Xu Xiaoming on the tournament, his first game earlier today against Canada, a 7-6 game. They lost. We'll make the nose hit to Lai 2.
And Japan here as well, just to talk about these teams coming for first visits or not having been here for a few years. Japan here instead of recently New Zealand. Last time round in Basel we had a New Zealand team who had a pretty respectable record. Got to the playoffs, almost. Tie breaks anyway. But we're nowhere against Japan and China in the qualifying event in the Pacific zone, Asia Pacific zone.
Trying to draw around, keep it in front of the T-line. It'll just sit on the corner, comes down, back 4, shot rock. Quickly look over, Scotland, Japan, and Scotland line 2. An open hit here for Yusuke Morozumi, trying to get on the board after 2 consecutive steals against the Scots. The open hit here in both these teams' first game of the Ford World Men's Championship. This Japanese side will do just that, comes right down, gets the 1, and it's a 2-1 game on sheet A. They're through 3 ends of play, so Scotland will get the hammer for the first time in that game.
Well, there's a great chance there for China to come right into the house and lie against the yellow stone of the Czech Republic, because that was a mistake by
Sorry, guys.
Schnittel's men to bring that one in, or to have that one as far up as that. Instead, they guard.
I think it looked like he wasn't all that pleased that he just didn't throw enough weight. That's quite a big difference of trying to draw in to being a centerline guard, but
Sure is.
huge opportunity for the Czech Republic. Put one top forefoot.
They are going to try and come through that little gap between the two red stones.
These are the shots you need to take advantage of, especially down 3-0. Make a key shot and lie 2.
So Martin Schnittel trying to execute this shot through the gap. They're all struggling a little bit with the draw weight, just being hard enough with their shots at times. He's got a good looking line if he can get past, but he wants to lie first and second shot, and he's going to be short. So it's not all bad news, because he can still see, Schnittel can still see that Chinese stone on the back of the house. If he comes at it from left to right as we look at it now, that is visible for him at the moment at least, but it's also possible for China to come around the short stones there, especially the yellow one just outside the house, and lie against that yellow shot of the Czech Republic's in the back of the house, just where China are sweeping there.
That's the problem, is that there is still an opportunity to get to the face of that one. As you see the number 84% for Leo Ray in their first game today against Canada.
So in turn draw, needs to be enough weight here. Chinese have struggled with the weight in this game, even though they're leading 3-0. And this one looks light again. Has to be up. No. Short.
But looks like they get it there to outcount that top yellow. That's third shot.
Poor shot though, really. Had to be right up to the yellow stone of Schnittel's.
Now a couple options, the yellow tap or the straight in turn draw, just a little wider than what Leo Ray played.
Well, the problem with the little tap, if you come through that gap on the right between the two red stones, the really short one and the one in the front of the biting the blue, is that you'll probably bump that red stone of China's out into the open in the process, and then it gives them the opportunity to tap it up and leave it behind the cover.
Ty se asi neroknem ani, ne?
Doufám, že ne, no. Tak takhle. Ale tady měl tam, kde přijel on. Trošku míň. A budu hrát těch 80. Tak tady je
80 byla ta Martinova tamhle zadu, no, tak to je ona.
No. No, když jak je tam tohle?
80.
So Jiří Schnittel then just trying the tap. He's struggling for weight as well. Needing to leave it to Curl.
Well, it'll be close to see if they got it far enough. They sort of used that other redstone to their advantage,
but they didn't want to push the red one out too much into the open. So I think he has just done enough to tap it up to lie 2. It's important for the Czechs to get 2 back here. So you can see they would like to sweep it for weight, but they did not want to ping that red one out too much into the open.
It worked out
I think
not bad in their favor, because they block off part of that tap of the stone just into the top of the 12. They don't kick it out in the open, so they don't have it. They have probably the in-turn draw, maybe.
But if they push the red one at the top of the white circle, they are out too much. It would give China a good chance for a tap right up. As it was, I think they were conscious of that. As it was, where it lies at the moment, the Chinese can't do a lot with that shot because it's half covered by the guard further out. So again, the Chinese have a chance, though, to come right round all these stones and lie against the back yellow. I think that shot's certainly on. Look,
it will curl hard, especially at the end, to get in and catch the side of the button, or at least sit full 4 foot.
But
need T-line weight.
But Liu has to be confident enough to play a bit more weight than he has done. He's been short several times in this game. Has to play more weight to get round here. They're struggling again on the weight, sweeping like mad with this shot. It'll curl at the end, there's no doubt about that. Has he passed the shots he needs to pass by? No, he's not. He's crashed into the front one. Light and tight. Once more, poor shot from China.
We've seen what that result is. The question is, whose second shot? Is that stone top 4 foot belonging to the Czech Republic? Believe it is, but how do you get a third point? How do you get another stone in there?
Well, that's certainly not going to be easy to get the third one in.
Look closely. It's close, but I believe it is that Yellowstone.
And
could you go wide on the right-hand side of your screen here, get around that red, come to the red stone back 4 foot?
I think that shot's on. I think it's the only shot that's really on, other than the raise as they're looking at the moment.
But even the raise, I don't know if they can get the right angle in order to avoid touching their own and outcount that back red rock.
Well, that's the problem, trying to outcount it. You could tap it up and onto your own shot, but you'll only lie the third shot then. I think the best shot is from right to left as we look at it, down the right-hand side, and just try and come to the back red. The stones curl hard at the end. As long as you pass that front red stone of China's, you're in good order. I suppose the danger is you could just curl too much and tap them up for one. You certainly don't want to do that. So Yiji Schnittel is down at the other end of the ice. I think they're going for the tap on the yellow. Need to catch it.
Maybe just to make sure that they get there too. That they're maybe not that confident that it's second shot.
I think it's second shot all right, but need to catch the angle here really.
That's real wide. Look, just a straight draw.
Is he trying to come right around the whole lot and hope to draw right at the finish? He is. Is he going to get it right in? He might. Oh, just fractionally short in weight.
Had great line if has a foot or two more weight.
It will be 2 to the Czech Republic in the fourth end. After that draw attempt. And both skips coming up short on draw shots. China now 3-2 ahead after 4 ends. So as we rejoin this game in the fifth end, China were leading 3-0, now 3-2. Plenty missed shots in the last end, but the Czech Republic picking up 2 points there to narrow the score to 3-2.
Well, Czech Republic trailing 3-2 without the hammer. Puts that first stone as a centerline guard. China now draw around it. They'll try and have their hand at scoring with the hammer. It's their first end with it.
Marek Vidra just trying to follow this round, tap it into the back of the house, or out altogether, more like it. Get the roll.
Well, with that halfway guard, there's lots of room. Even if they're partly exposed, you can get to them. And Marek Vidra, as you saw.
Well, I think he threw that a little bit heavy, so he could have got better roll in behind. A lighter shot allowed the sweepers to come into the play there. China lead player will follow this. And tap it back. Pretty close to this guard.
Oh, just get by, and we'll get to the nose of that.
I think he might even have just feathered the guard on the way past. It looked like it, but it didn't disturb the line.
Still able to make that hit. Let's see if Jakub Barash can follow right down on top and play the hit himself.
Aby tenhle ten i vyjel, no. Tohle jako menší hek už ne, než tohle.
So both skips content just to hit this stone out the back and replace it with a shooter. A little bit of a roll there away from the guard. Chance now for Schnittel to hit and roll behind the guard, giving a little bit of ice here, maybe 2 feet or so. So this stone will be played at controlled weight so that he can hit and just roll over behind the yellow stone. Sweeping it for the line here. Gets the hit. A bit of a roll. Is it far enough? Pretty close.
Get most of it in behind. Very nice. Playing in the top part of the ring. Soon going to be making these hits and be outside of the rings. That one top 12 foot.
So China can see about a third of that stone. And he's not giving a lot of ice on this, so it will he'll be hoping to hit it, but I don't think the shooter will stick around. Sweeping like fury to get it past the guard.
They won't, they'll crash and burn.
There was always that danger with that shot. So a little bit of an advantage now for the Czech team. They can cover this guard up, or they could tap it into the house, albeit tap it further up into the house if they did that, leaving a possible double, but I think they need to be much closer to the 4 foot to be forcing the game to China.
Well, they decide just to play the straight draw as opposed to try and move that one at all. They're just going to guard it, force China to get it in. Lots of room in the ring still to work with.
Well, that's what they indicated, just to guard it, but I don't think the Yellowstone is close enough to the center to trouble China too much if it comes to a draw for a single point. So going for the raised double here, which they will make.
Very nice, able to just catch enough and roll their shooter out. So they have now the 2 corners to try and draw behind and utilize. Well, able to catch enough of that. Key was where that shooter goes. You see it rolls over right onto the card decal on the ice and rolls over, opens up the 4 foot.
So this end pretty open. High probability of a blank end or a single point for China. If the Czechs can force things a bit. Not showing too many signs of doing that though. And this one will be too far. Right to the back of the house.
Not where they want it to be. So that one settles down quickly over Russia, Sweden. 3-1, Russia leading. And it is Sweden with the Yellowstones. A big weight from Niklas Edin, who survived a scare earlier today against Finland. Big weight trying to come off the side one. And will kick that yellow just a little too far. They look to see who is shot stone. And we can tell you it is 1 for Sweden, so 3-2 after 4 ends of play over on sheet C.
So China now trying the draw around behind the guard. And although it's probably half hidden from the other end, it's not good enough to be out of the line of fire for the Czechs, I don't think.
Well, stone position so important. Just compare the difference between those shots. Czech Republic goes back 12 foot, and that one in front of the tee line. A freeze now on that has to have the right angle in order to be shot stone.
So Jiří Schnittel here in the 5th end, trailing 2-3 without last stone advantage. Just trying to tap this out. Needs to curl a long way here to make contact with the Chinese stone.
Sweepers were indicating a little bit more weight than what they thought. But able to get the right line to tap that one, have to push it far enough. And they're able to push it just far enough to lie 1-2.
Well, he needed all the weight he played. And that's been the problem with both skips here. They've been short numerous times in this game. I don't know if the ice is just fractionally slower tonight. It looks a little slower from up here. Haven't got a time on it.
It is a little bit different. Obviously, an evening. The Home Country Canada not in, so a few less people in the building, so that might make a difference also.
So this shot is wide open for China to see. Looking for the hit and roll in behind.
Would you think about maybe trying to make the double at this stage, or just the hit and roll, try and set up your two?
Well, I think they're going for the hit and roll.
Just can't roll too far.
Ani jim to nedává žádný double, no. Musím ho schovat. 80, no. 70 do metr do zadních kruhů, no. 85. Nahoru, jo?
So this is plenty of mistakes in this game from both sides, actually.
85.
Haven't really been able to have any momentum going one way or the other, make that key shot and capitalize on an opponent mistake.
So chance once more for Schnittel to lie two, but China have last stone advantage here. Probably going to need to use it to get their point. To save a point, they're certainly not going to be blanking the end. It looks pretty difficult for them to score two. Important though for Schnittel just to come round behind here, prevent any chance of China having a go at the double.
He'll be underneath enough cover that don't think there's going to be enough for the double, unless because of the distance you can try and get to it. Is it worth the risk?
I think there's no prospect of the double takeout. I don't think you can get round and have enough.
No, that angle gives you a good look that it's well behind those two stones.
Even in your best curling days, Luke, you're not making a double on those two. So the single point draw is a shot nominated by Leo Ray. Last stone here in the fifth end. China going for a draw shot fully to the white part of the circle, 8-foot circle, for a single point.
Well, facing a couple, just a light clean by the front end there, right down, and will sit back 8 foot just in time. Surprised they didn't put a little bit of a sweep on that, but it's a single point for China, and they have a 2-point lead as we head to the fifth end break here in Victoria. Well, look back the first 5 ends of play and how we've got to this stage. Look in the first end, Sneedle trying to get a tap, trying to tap it up to get 2, and it just over curled on them. They can't hold it. Taps it by that red stone, and it will be a single point stolen by the Chinese as we started things off in the first. Skip ahead to the third, and an opportunity now for the Czech Republic to get 2 after a miss by China. Yiji, again, another miscue on this one. Over curls, and will actually promote that red stone as a second stolen point in the third end. but able to bounce back in the next end. Lying 1-2, going out wide. The Czech Republic skip has to go wide. Perfect line, needs perfect weight in order to get the third point. Vidra and Barish trying to take this one far enough, but it will come up just shy of the 4 foot, and only 2 as the Czech Republic gets a deuce. They are now trailing 4-2. So we will take a look in Denmark against the United States of America. They are on sheet D, and the U.S., a great start for them. They were up early with a 3 and a 2 in the last rock here. Brady Clark out of Seattle, Washington, trying to play the out turn right down to it. Needs a little tap in order to get a single point. His last rock, and this U.S. skip is able to tap it, stick around, get his one, and it is a 6-2 lead on sheet D at the break. And look at the other one, Scotland with a big 4 in the 4th. So controlling that one against Japan, while Russia holds a slim 3-2 lead over Sweden and Nicholas Adin. Well, some young curling fans taking in China, taking on the Czech Republic here in the 5th end break.
We get a chance to blank 7. Let's blank number 7 to get the hammer and eagle. If we get a chance. If we get a chance. We got 40 minutes on the clock. Perfect time. Perfect time. Yeah. Yeah. So it's good. We're playing good. You guys are making quality shots. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing quality shots. Good. Good job. Finish it off. Finish it off.
Yeah, that's one of the problems we're getting into is we're just slow. We're like not even there. Okay.
Všem rychlejc se hejbat, jako i když nehrajem, prostě rychlejc chodit, rychlejc se hejbat, nasadit úplně jiný tempo. Ploužíme se tam, mám pocit, všichni jak mátohy.
And you know we do better faster.
No.
Because we're not giving ourselves time to think.
Zrychlit chození, všechno, prostě být ready a chodit.
So we just heard the coaches there having a word with their teams, and now we can have a quick look at the statistics. China 85% on the hits against 82, very close on the draws as well. Just 2 or 3 points ahead of the Czech Republic at this stage. And obviously the score 4-2 in their favour going into end number 6. Not a lot in it, but 3 stolen points, interestingly. Some of the fans having some
Cold beverages.
liquid.
You see a lot of red, white, and blue with the American team. Not their hometown, not very far from Victoria. We're here on Vancouver Island, the capital city of British Columbia, Canada, for the 2013 edition of the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. The 6th end about to begin.
So China setting off. Chang Shilan.
We started off the game in the a few ends coming just behind the tee line with his first rock when they came into the house. That went right to the button. Put the corner guard out in front.
After 5 ends then, Vidra scoring 80% so far. And once more putting the corner guard on. Ideal place seems to be in the middle of the Ford Fusion.
Right on the car. China will try and bring play to the center. That seems to be the game plan here, is when they're without the hammer. Of course, with the lead, the first stone goes into the house.
So just trying to put the guard short of the rings. He does not want to bring it in, otherwise it's going to be an easy hit for the Czechs. Well, poor shot there. Poor shot for China.
Well, jump over sheet A. Scotland gets the 4 in the fourth end, and Yosuke Morizumi facing more Scotland stones in the fifth end, and needs to come up with the draw and get it to the 4 foot in order to cut that lead down. The Japanese skip has faced nothing but red Scottish stones in this game. This one will come down right in the 4 foot. Uses some of that. Actually doesn't have to use the backing. Thought it was going to come down to it. Sits back 4 foot. Nonetheless, it's a single point for Japan. They're down 6-2 after 5 ends. And Scotland will have the hammer as they come out of their fifth end break.
And as I said earlier, these Asia Pacific teams having to face the Europeans in this round, Czechs and Scots. They don't have all that many goes at the European teams. They don't come to Europe very often. Mostly they come to Canada to play. Easier for them to zoom across the Pacific than it is to go to Europe. So Jakob Baresh scoring 88% after 5 ends. Just trying to freeze onto this Chinese stone on the blue. Well, he will tap it just behind the tee. Well, not a bad position for Baresh and his teammates.
It's a stone that Leo Ray and China have to deal with because it's in front of the tee line. It can be tapped up and promoted. Also, the hit is a little more difficult because it can jam on that stone in the back if they go after it.
And here the strategy for both teams. China are trying hard to make sure, or trying to either steal a point or make sure that the Czechs take 1 point. The Czechs, of course, having last stone advantage again, looking to try and get 2. Well, that was another bad shot from China.
Well, crashes on the guard, opens things up as jump over Russia and Sweden. Update you here. The Russian skip. It is Andrei Drozdov trying to increase their lead with the hammer. Here has the draw. Trying to outcount that stone. You see come into your picture on the left. It looks like it's just biting the 4 foot. Front end able to get it right to the 4 foot, right to the button. So a single point for the Russian side, the host country for the upcoming Olympic Winter Games. As they will be there as a host, the host country. They lead now 4-2 at the break. Czech Republic plays the hit, trying to see if they can roll over, maybe corner frozen. They are shot stone.
Well, if you were China, would you not roll the other way, Luke?
I think try and keep your stones separated and try and play for the force.
I certainly think so too.
Because with no guards out in front, a steal, not all that likely. important to hold the shooter, though. As you take away that your advantage by doing just that, rolling out.
Oh, another loose shot.
Both sides just not crisp in this game and executing their shots to perfection. There's a lot of half shots. There you make the hit, but you roll out instead of sticking around. Knows it's better than rolling out.
So Martin, 78% for him. Just going for the tap up, I think, on the front yellow onto the other straight tap so that it bumps against the Chinese stone. And he just catches the wrong angle on that. China will continue to lie first shot. Lots of mistakes here.
Just need to curl a bit more, but unable to do that. Shot stone is that back. Red one in the 12-foot.
Would you not consider drawing the other side here, Luke?
Would cross my mind. The mentality when you see a couple of opponent stones that has the hammer is to hit it. But here, your lying shot, it's tough to get second shot by hitting. And that's the tough part of that shot, is now you roll away your third shot. Could make a play on shot. You could try and play the double.
Well, Czech Republic, the Czechs, they have the last stone advantage here. I'm trying to work out how to get two out of this. There are 3 Czech stones to go. I think perhaps the draw around that top stone might be what to do, leaving it so that you could jam it easily on the Chinese shot. If certainly don't think the hit's the shot, but that's it.
I think they have some other options they can do, but they're just relying on the hits, and I think it might come down to just not being all that confident in draw weight.
A nice draw around there to leave the angle onto the Chinese stone would have been a good shot in my book.
Well, taps that one through. It still leaves that red stone shot, and now need to just split the rings, play for your force. That's keep things away from that side of the rings now.
So anywhere in the white or closer on the left-hand side as we were looking at it there.
And this is one you want to go deep in the rings. You don't want to leave it in the top part, because then you would leave it a chance at a double. Back 4, back 8, be ideal. Well, 73%. Not quite where he was earlier today against Canada in their loss. Had some half shots, that being making the hit but not rolling it to the right spot or sticking around.
Well, it has to stop. My second shot, which it does, or first shot. 1 and 2, important that China lay first and second stone, and they do. So China trying to force the Czechs to take a single point here. Schnittel having a look at how to get two. He's going for a draw to the back stone. If this was Nicholas Edin, you'd be going for the double on the 2 Chinese stones and probably making it.
Probably, I'd give him good odds on making that one. In this case, the draw, try and sit on the corner. I was looking at which one do you freeze to, the one in the back of the 8-foot or the one behind cover, and it gives you a little more room for error if you play behind the one on the corner.
I think so. He needs to get the right weight though. 67% for Schnittel at this stage. Quite low. Mostly struggling with the draw weight. Both these skips struggling with the draw weight. Needs to be up here. And the front end looked at that for a long time before they started sweeping. Well,
its second shot, that's the problem. It has a great freeze onto it, but because it's not out counting that back one, it's be tough to bring into play.
Well, China only have to follow it down. But they must make sure after this that they lie first and second shot. If Liu Rei does not lie second shot after this, he needs to be careful that this just doesn't overcurl slightly, and then it gives a chance for Schnittel to hit for 2. So vital to lie first and second here. Well, they need to watch it. He's going to be all right.
Will come down in good position, had the backing.
Well played.
I think you can put the broom down and draw for 1 because there's nothing there to try and score your 2.
So, draw shot for a single point for Yuji Schnittel. So tighten the score to 4-3 if he makes this. He's got backing, so he can play a little bit extra weight if he needs to, as long as he's on the right line. This one looks pretty good.
Well, needs to stop in the 4-foot or even in the 8. It goes back 4-foot, so a single point for the Czech Republic, and it's 4-3. China still on top. They'll get the hammer as we'll head to 7 after this.
As we rejoin play here at the 7th end, China are leading Czech Republic team 4 shots to 3, and they have the last stone advantage here. China losing their first game against Canada, and the Czechs beating Norway in the first game this afternoon, both these teams having played their first games. So if the game continues like this and China win, they'll both be left with a 1-win, 1-loss record.
Well, and that's an important start for China, especially losing your first. You know you're taking on Canada if you end up winning that one. It's good. You have a chance to go 2-0, but they come in 0-1. They can bring Czech Republic back to them. Be tied 1-1 as opposed to 2 games back of Czech Republic. Well, and China knows it. They have an important game again tomorrow against Sweden, so it doesn't get any easier for them. Another loss, they would go into tomorrow 0-2 against one of the favorites coming in Sweden.
Well, they very much need a win here then. There's no doubt about that. And I think the Czechs will be disappointed having taken one of the big scalps in Norway. They would most certainly be looking for a win against what, on paper at least, should be an easier team from China. So, 2 guards out for Schnittel here in the 7th end. Chinese just trying to draw behind, not curling too much there.
Well, jump over sheet A. It is Scotland against Japan, 6-2. As you see, Tom Brewster holding the broom fort. The skip, David Murdoch, big weight. Looks like, I think there's a couple of them on the top of the forefoot. He's going to try and blast out of there. See if he can get the 2. Catches on the 3rd one, but jams on that back red, and it ends up being a steal of 1. So kind of a grin there for Murdoch. Able to leave that one around. It's now 6-3. Japan steals that one. Scotland will retain hammer. The 2 centerline guards here, that one comes up short. Trying to keep an angle on it.
Well, he really had to be up onto the face of that stone. Look, being a bit short there, not ideal for Barish. Just trying to remove the long guard here, China.
And they've had this game plan throughout part of the game, is when things aren't set up in the house or things are looking good, let's get rid of some guards, especially corners. When they got up 3-0 early, started removing corner guards that would benefit their opponent.
So second shot for Barish here in the 7th end. Trying to re-establish that guard again, more or less where it was. Well, nicely positioned.
We'll play back and forth on those hits, whether or not they, or pardon me, on the guards. See if China peels them right away, or they will look to peel the high one.
It's the same shot again from Dushin.
Clears off the front, leaves them that shot stone being China.
So the first stone of third players here. Martin Schnittel is putting his guard back once again. This one looks a little bit further up than the previous two, and it needs to curl. Just land more or less touching the red line. Well,
Tighter than they wanted.
yeah.
Now there's a double.
Yeah, definite chance of taking both these front guards off. Running the shooter. As indicated by Yuri.
OK。
So trying to take the two yellows. Oh, just missing it. So not quite from Xu Shouming. That nearer guard remains. China at the moment lying first shot just on the top of the button. And, this time Schnittel just trying to come right down and tap his own stone up.
So they do decide to make the play after trading guards and hits. Make the play on those stones in the house.
Well, short with what he was attempting to do.
That is very much the story of the game for the Czech Republic. When they've tried to make a play, they just haven't executed.
And none of them have been on getting their draw weight correct, almost all the time short of the distance they're being asked for. I don't think the ice looks slow in any way. I just think they're playing them short of weight. So there's a good chance here for a raised double on the front yellow stone. China quite happy to open this up because they want to try to get two here.
Well, they don't really open it up. They leave their shooter out there. They get rid of one and kick that Czech Republic stone out to the other side.
It's definitely not what was wanted by Xu Shouming.
So that even could allow the play on the one in the rings. Play a little tap, try and move that red stone back or out.
It certainly does, and it does allow possibly with the tap to run the shooter in behind the yellow one on the left as we look at it. And if you catch the angle just the way it's set up, if he taps it onto the red stone, the front yellow as it lies will be behind the red guard. So both these yellow counters could be guarded by the end of this. The shooter and that one in the rings, if it just catches this properly, right weight and right direction. Not that he's had too many that have been the right weight and the right direction tonight, but if he does it with this one, it's to play a little bit of weight at it. He hasn't made all that much weight at this, looking at it. Sweeping furiously and get it past the guard, and
can't.
Once more, too light.
I think if he has the right weight, he's going to have the right line.
He had to play more weight there. He had to get that red stone off the center of the house, and he was light again. It's been the story of the night for Schnittel. Lighter all the time than he needs to be, not heavy enough. Sweepers look at it for a bit and then they jump on it, but it's too late.
The hole's bigger now. We'll see if they can get both of these two yellows out of there. Leo will try to do just that.
He needs to get just the right angle on them. He has to pass the guard by almost nothing for the front yellow one to hit the other one, not jam on his red one. Well, beautiful shot from Chinese skip Liu Rei there to lie 3.
Able to kick it just far enough off their own, and we'll jump over Russia, Sweden, 6th end. And it is Sweden with last rock. Nicholas Sedin. They're trying to come back in this one. He's down again in this one. Was down earlier today, came back and won it. Needs a late game comeback as the nose hit. And sits in the forefoot. They took a look at the other ones just to make sure. But it looks like just one. And it is a 4-3 game after 6 ends. Sweden will need to have a solid final 4 ends if they want to try and move to 2-0.
So one more look at the stone for China. The 2 yellows just heading out of the rings.
And it just narrowly missed that one on the right side of your screen. Gets by.
And also, fortunately, just caught a little piece of his own one to move it, but leave it still in the house to lie 3. So Schnittel's had a long look at how to play his next shot here. Trying to come through this gap to the stone in the back forefoot. Hit it and stay.
Well, just touches it over, and when it rains, it pours. It continues to go against this Czech Republic side.
Well, that was a really awful shot and a costly one, because now China have a draw for 4.
Or a split for 5.
Or a split for 5, yes. I think I'd just settle for the 4 and an 8-3 lead, to be honest. Well,
that's the only reason I'm
not sure why Schnittel played just quite so much weight at that. Could have played a little bit less and just allowed the curl.
Is sweeping and cleaning it up in the house. That being Xu Xiaoming, the vice there, just cleaning up, trying to speed it up.
And here we can see Yuji Schnittel needed to curl a little bit more, and so fast that it didn't curl enough. Tapped them across, and China will lie 3 now with a stone. Last stone on the 7th end. Simple draw shot for 4.
Well, they were cleaning it up to play for the split. The difference between 4 and 5 at this stage, 8-3 or 9-3. Either way, big lead, but they want to try and score the handful.
He's not far away with the angle here.
Catch the one, roll it in, and there it is. It is good for 5, and what a shot for the Chinese side as they get 5 here in the 7th end. Now, 9-3 after 7 ends of play. Well, here's the split again by the Chinese rink. They saw that it was close. They knew there was nothing else in the rings after the Schneidel miss and split. Nothing
to lose having a go. The worst you're going to get is 4, and when it works out like that, you get 5.
And now 9-3, and China well on their way to try and move to 1-1. They know they will take on Sweden tomorrow in draw 4, while the Czech Republic gets Russia.
And look, I have to say, Yuji Schnittel is having a stinker of a game here.
He is fighting it each and every delivery. He's not sure exactly the result, and it's not going his way, especially after looked good in their win over Thomas Olsrud in Norway this afternoon. Thought they'd come in with a little bit of momentum, but it's been China with the steals early that sort of have got them off to the lead.
You have to wonder how on earth he beat Olsrud this afternoon if he played anything like this. But plainly he didn't. So
they will now get to play their hit game. Here's a look at all 4 sheets in play. The Save-On Foods Memorial Center. You're watching live coverage of the 2013 Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Luke Coley here with Richard Harding. And will they bring these first 2 into the house?
You bet they will. At 9-3 up.
And then as soon as the second stones come, it'll be hits galore.
It will be hits galore. And unless we get misses galore, I'm sure it'll be handshakes galore at the end of this particular end. So a little bit quiet in here this evening because Canada are not playing, so the home crowd are having a night out in the town in Victoria rather than watching the curling.
On an Easter weekend. Here's the final couple days of March. Opening weekend here, and we'll have 3 games for 3 draws. We'll start this full slate tomorrow. Just 2 games in the morning draw tomorrow. Both of these teams will have the morning off. We're back in action in draw 4 as they try for the tick shot to try and push that one to the boards and have the shooter roll out of play.
And there's the stats. Vidra just out shooting his Chinese opponent.
And a few of those lower numbers for Cha Liang is because of some of the draws went behind the tee line, so we didn't get full marks. They went in early, they went deep, so it gets knocked a little bit on that one.
And to be fair to the Czechs, the main problem isn't the front end here, it's poor old skip.
Well, here come the peels. Badushin will get the one, takes it right off the car.
And Schnittel has no option but to try to replace the guard once more. Barish also a couple of points ahead of his opponent.
And last end was really an unassuming 5 that sort of snuck up on us with a double made by Leo Ray and then the split to get the 5. Just the positioning didn't go the way, and some poor execution by Yuji Schnittel. Another peel.
So just clearing away all possible stones which could cause trouble to China. They lie one on the button. And now Schnittel going for the draw behind the corner guard here, I think. On the out turn, second shot of Jakub Baresh. Again, struggling with the weight. Is he going to get round this time? Yes.
Well, they'll get around. It's just a matter of where they position this one. They got to try and hide a few stones. So,
not bad. Fractionally heavy. Needed to be in front of the rings. Really, it probably won't make much difference because China are going to remove that front stone guarding Baresh's shot there. They will be happy to see the back of this shot and run the shooter out of play, which they do. Fewer stones the better as far as they're concerned at this stage, with a 6-point lead in the 8th end.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple game plan. Eliminate opponent rocks and everything out in front that they can hide behind.
So the Chinese have halved 3 short stones out of play as this end goes into the second half. For the Czechs, and they will replace the guard a bit longer this time, and I think it may over curl. Yes,
I think it has by a fair amount there.
Well, I think the Czech Republic are going through the motions here a little bit. There's the difference at third, 8%.
Here's where the big differences are on the back end for both sides. Nose hit for China to lie to Xu Xiaoming.
And Schnittel having to resort to freezing stones in the house. It's always a bad sign when you get to that stage, especially with no guards anywhere. Well, there is one guard, but it's not much use to them at the moment. So Martin Schnittel, his second shot here in end number 8. Most likely his last shot of this game. So this one has to freeze pretty tightly, otherwise it's going to get taken right out of play. Well, a good shot from Martin Schnittel, but too little too late. I fear China will have a good fly at this one, down to skip stones.
Well, it has to play the in-turn at this on that side because of where the other red stone is. They can't play the out-turn to try and blast it there. It'll go right onto their own stone and leave it in place. So try and make this one go straight sideways.
Off to the right as we look at
yes.
it. And it might do pretty well to get this out of the house because the two stones are pretty close together.
That's a well-played shot by Martin Schnittel.
So first stone here for Liu Ray here in the 8th end. And they attempt to try and bump that stone out.
Well, they jam on their own. Do they have enough to get that yellow out? And they won't. So the freeze is good enough to leave that one around.
Well, that just showed how well played the stone of Schnittel was, that it's still there.
Jump over Scotland and Japan over on sheet 8. David Murdoch in his last had a steal in the previous end. Got up big. Now trying to Voigt again playing the big weight, trying to make the double, the triple. Won't get the one, and it is that Yellowstone. They point to it. Single point, 6-4 after 7, so 2 consecutive steals by Japan has them down by just 2 with 3 ends remaining. Now that guard can come into play after both the Reds go away on China's shot.
So Czech Republic all set to pick up 2 here. But I fear 4 shots behind is too much to come back. So 2 stones remaining now. China leading 9-3 in the 8th end. And there's the big percentage difference. Schnittl only on 67%. Not high enough on draws or hits. China hit that one out of play. Delay second shot. And Schnittl has a draw for 2 here to get back to 4 down.
And even then, it becomes a tall task. That's 4 down without the hammer and 2 ends.
And he's really struggled with the draw weight tonight, Yuji Schnittl. Well, he can do it when there's nothing else to do but play a draw to the 1 foot.
So comes down, they get their 2, and that'll make it 9-5. China will have the hammer. 2 ends remaining here in our feature game in draw 2.
他要站2位的话，你还是往中间旋一个，就是保证咬住他中区，完了你就把前面打开。分他干啥呀？分他两边全是站位。
Well, here inside the Save-On Foods Memorial Center, Luke Coley here, Richard Harding, and the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. There's the line score, and the number that jumps out at you, the 5. That being in the 7th end, as China had everything set up. A double by Leo Ray, and then the split to get 5, and 9-5 is the score after the Czech Republic get 2 back, but are now without the hammer. So we play this 9th end. They're going to have to steal 2, or steal 4 points in 2 ends in some order. It'll be very tough with what we can only assume is not many rocks in play.
Well, I think you have to have a one-end game plan here. Hope it goes okay, with possibly a steal of 2. And then, if you do succeed, you then have another one-end game plan. No point in I think you have to take them one end at a time here.
They're trying the little split on that, trying to push them off to the side. That one ends up tapping it in. Shooter just off the center as we cut over Sheet C, Russia and Sweden. Andrei Drozdov facing 1 shot stone, top of the 4-foot top 8. As a long angle raise. If he picks it out and sticks, there could be a chance for 2. Won't get anything, goes over the top. 1 for sure. See them move the stones around. They'll take a look, but it is just a 1. So 4-4 after the steal. Sweden gets another steal late in this one. They have 3 ends remaining in that game as they try to move to 2-0. Sweden's next game will be against this Chinese team tomorrow in draw 4.
Well, I certainly think Sweden will not find the Russians collapsing in quite the same way as they did find Finland doing that earlier. Much more, I think it will be a more solid team they face here for the last end or 2. Back in our game though. China happy to take out the stone that they can go for here and lie. Of course, with that shot, they could not remove the guard. Not out of play under the rules. Leave that till the next shot. So Schnittel now asking for the draw behind for Jakub Barish. Try and set up his 2 points. We're sweeping this for line. It's almost certainly has to get past the guard. Well, just no more.
Great job by the brushers there, able to get that around. You see how much late finish there is. Goes right to the top of the 4-foot. Shot stone.
So Barish looked.
Oh, he had a little bit of room.
He did, but they swept it hard to keep it.
Keep it there, and look at how much comes out the other side. So we see the double peel attempt will spill that Czech Republic stone into the top part of the house.
But I don't think any of that will worry the Chinese very much. They've got the whole game in the house now, so they can just hit like mad for home here. The guards were the danger, and now there are no guards. So, and it's fairly early in the end. We're still at second stones with Jakub Barish trying to put another guard back out in front. He will replace his shot quite nicely, biting or straddling the center line, and China just going to try and take that off. They'll be happy just to half this shot out, which they do.
Just trying to keep everything into those rings. Right now, lying shot, that one top of the 4-foot. Czech Republic continues to try and protect with the guard.
So easy Schnittel. Indicating the guard replacement.
They have their 4-point lead again over Denmark on sheet D. Both those teams in their first game of the event after having their bye in draw 1.
So China removing that stone from Park. Covered behind the guard and rolling out to the wing to lie second and third shot. Schnittel having to have a go at coming round the guard that he put there. Well, he's past the guard, but it has to be in the house and lying. Second shot. Well, it's yet again short. They've been short all night on the draws. Cannot get the weight. What is the weight, Luke, roughly, do you think?
I think it's hog to hog, probably about 14 and a half seconds.
It's about normal.
Yeah. It seems, talking to some of the coaches when they were out at practice yesterday, ice was, normally there's some rough spots that you're still breaking in the ice a little bit, and here they love the surface. It was a great sliding surface and very quick, but obviously it may have changed just a little bit with a crowd in here, and they're trying to make adjustments. Always different when in an empty building as opposed to one with an audience.
So perhaps a little bit slower out there tonight, because all the draw shots have been, or almost all of them have been on the short side rather than too far.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot that they've been right off sliding deep in the house for the most part in this evening.
So Czechs now lying first and fourth shot. China have last stone here, and Schnittel is 4 down.
They decide what to play. Jump over sheet A, 6-4 now. Scotland got that 4 early to have a big lead. Here, David Murdoch, 2-time world champion. Now with this old Brewster crew, he's now skipping it. So here, Tom, now the vice in the house, calling this one for a skipper. Just the straight draw here, no backing, needs the forefoot, needs the button. And he puts it right on the Ford logo, gets the 1 for Scotland. So increases their lead now 7-4, 2 ends remaining. Scotland and Japan, both those two squads in their first action at this year's event. So we see the Czech Republic playing the tap. That one well executed, able to tap that one right to the forefoot.
So they will lie first shot, but second shot looks like the red on the left there.
Well, looking to tap this one on the nose was the call. Important to keep the line so you use that stone that you throw as the guard. Only problem is there's not a lot of separation with that one top of the 12-foot. Can play the double to get rid of that one.
pretty straightforward to take 2 of these yellows out of there.
The only question, does it jam on the side? Even still, leave the open 4-foot later on.
It could jam, but it's worth the go. There's no doubt about that. If he catches the angle just right on this front one, he could lift that stone in the middle out of there too. A little bit careful not just to jam it straight back.
Well, make the double.
Well,
no jam there.
Great shot there from China. The shot stone is still that. Shot stone is still that one at the back.
You see the sweepers get off. They knew he had it. Just past the hog line, rolls the shooter off to the side. Trying to make a decision here, the Czech Republic. If they want to try and lie 2 at this stage, down 4, play the little raise on their yellow and roll the shooter in to lie 1-2.
Well, they don't have the last stone here, and of course he needs to tap that up to lie first shot or second shot and roll his shooter into the middle. Doesn't want to roll too far in though, because that way it's a straightforward tap out and China will take 1, and the Czechs need to steal 1 point, preferably 2. I think they're down to only getting a 1 point steal here, if they're lucky. So what's the nomination?
I think it's the intern trying to tap that red, or pardon me, the yellow one up onto the red. And if the angle lines up and your shooter can roll in, I think that's a bonus at this stage if you can get it in for second shot.
Line. Line. Empty line. Line. Yep. Empty line. Yep. 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 Yep.
Well, the line is important. They got to try and roll this one. Do they have enough weight to tap it? It's over curling. And it'll tap. And that should just about do it with an open hit here for 3 more points for China.
Another really poor shot from Yiji Schnittel. Straight take out for 3 from Chinese skip Liu Rei. They lie second and third shot. Straightforward hit, and they will get 3 here in the 9th end. And with it, they will secure a 12-5 win if they get the 3 points. So the gloves are off for the Czechs. Well, truly beaten tonight, it has to be said.
And we'll get it right on the nose. There is the 3 for the Czech Republic, and the hands will be extended. They come out, the victory for China. So both teams now 1-1 with a 12-5 China victory.
So a resounding victory for China in the second round here, having lost to Canada earlier on. We will bring you an interview in a moment or two with the winning skip from China. Luke will be talking to him. going back to the fourth end here. Easy Schnittel with a shot for 2. His last stone. This shot for 3 actually. He lies 2, just comes up fractionally short. Perfect line, but short in weight. And he gets 2 to narrow the score to 3-2. And here, first stone for China. They make the double. Push the shot stone off the button, but still lie 3. And Easy Schnittel, he would miss with his last stone, and this shot of Liu Rei, the split for 5, and what would turn out to be an unassailable 9-3 lead. And we roll on to the 9th end, and 3 more shots for China, give them a 12-5 victory over the Czech Republic. And their first win of this 2013 Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Other scores at the moment in the 9th end. All games in the 9th end. 7-4 Scotland over Japan. 5-4 Russia leads Sweden. And Denmark trailing the United States 3 points to 7 on sheet D. The standings towards the end of today. China and the Czech Republic now on 1-1 after the Chinese victory. Canada, Sweden and Switzerland on wins from earlier, and Finland, Norway and Russia on losses from earlier on today.
How important was it to get off to a good start after an early loss against Canada this morning?
他就是问你，就是说，因为第一场呢输给加拿大了，那么我们怎么样从输比赛当中很快的走出来的？
我们主要是第一场先适应场地嘛，找场地。第一场那感觉大家都没找好，完了下来打完比赛下来以后总结一下，大家在第2场马上调整状态，发挥的还可以。
For the first game, we just learning the eyes and to adapt to the World Championship environment. And so after that game, even we lose, we adjust quickly and go to the second game.
And the 7th end was a key one, getting that the big 5, going for the split as opposed to drawing for 4.
Yeah. 他就是问你，就是第7局啊，本来咱们可以投4分，然后为什么要选择一个这个 split， 再就是分开得5分？
因为5分，在于4分来讲，4分也许对手还可以跟你打，5分的话，因为比分多1分嘛，也许对手选择了放弃，也许这样。
We selected 5 points, so we hope the other team lose the game quickly. Shaking hand quickly.
Well, congratulations. Good luck the rest of the way.
他说祝贺你取得胜利，然后呢，希望下面的比赛有好运气。
谢谢 ，Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, with that victory tonight, China gaining their first win in the championships. We are coming to the close of day 1 here at the Ford World Men's Curling Championship 2013 from the Save-On-Foods Memorial Centre in Victoria, British Columbia. Coley.